Good morning, folks. We'll begin with the top stories of the last day. 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Panama. It was a shallow rumble, but luckily far enough out to sea that there's not major damage. Like many large tremors, this shook the whole planet. We playfully call those global ringers. With L-wave transmission faster and over longer distances, we got a little over half the plots picking up this rumble. Next, we shift to Iraq. We have another radiation incident, and again, even halfway across the planet, this is the United States fault. It wasn't just Fallujah that got hit with our depleted uranium rounds, and for a spot question to my fellow studiers of international law, how did the U.S. not commit an act of genocide by doing so? Last top story is a solar eruption indicative of the instability of these incoming plasma filaments, but this one indeed released to the south and should miss our planet and planet's magnetic shield by a good margin. We're coming down under where we see a few cloud lines, but the real story is this red rover lineup of high and low pressure. 3 highs to the north, daring one of the Antarctic lows to step up and draw a convergence. We'll keep that pressure overlay on for Europe. 1 cell slightly offshore still of the Ireland coastlines. Meanwhile, Norway, Sweden, and Finland are underneath another low, drawing all the way from the Mediterranean. That's a long storm line. Then we come to the far west. Drought outlook, or droughtlook if you favor wordplay. Strong contrast to what's happening in the east, huh? Climate extremes event that got stuck in the central U.S. has been flooding and dropping tornadoes in the other half of the country. Last night the line went from Austin, Texas, north past Milwaukee, shifted clouds well up into Canada. That's where the low can be found today, with yet another convergence drawn to the Gulf. Luckily, the extreme event is over, 1 day after predicted, but appears the middle to end of this week may resume a bit of that severe warnings for the eastern states. Also, don't forget, the extremes aspect requires the mega cold on the backside. Contrast the 90-degree days in the east with the snowstorm video I favorited last night out of Utah, and it's all the way going south to New Mexico. We should also eye the North Pacific lows. Both are affecting parts of Alaska, with the eastern cell drawing a convergence all the way down to Hawaii. Kicking it to space weather, we took a gamma ray burst yesterday afternoon, came out of the Sagittarius constellation, first one in a couple days. As the coronal hole stream fades away, the speed drops with rising density. This is actually not a new shock wave, it just happens between wind streams, and even without instability, that density level can produce auroras worth stepping outside if you're at high latitude. Solar flaring continues going down, down, down. The departing active regions are the story of our star for a while. Weak magnetic power, weak field interaction, weak star. No magnetic mixing anywhere on the disk. The umbras are not interacting in a way that is conducive to flaring. It appears just another day en route to solar grand minimum. Much more exciting day in terms of coronal field activity. Looks like she's trying to finish that pole flip, even though she's struggling to do so. Even without major power to that coronal hole, it wasn't as weak as some we've seen the last month. Medium power in a perfectly Earth-facing position overnight on the equator, and we took our larger quake in Panama. I'm hoping that's all we'll get, but the opening is still clearly Earth-facing. Current conditions and shots of our star to close. Eyes open. No fear at 6:35 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.